My sister accused me of being a homewrecker, so I revealed her lies to our whole family.
I really am.
So this all started yesterday when I, 22 female, had a date planned with a guy. He ended up not showing, and so naturally I texted the group chat about it. My sister is in this particular group chat. I'm guessing my sister, Sarah, 26 female, told her best friend, Jay, 27 male, about it because a few minutes later, Jay texted me to ask if I'm okay. I told him yes, just a little disappointed since I was pretty excited to try that particular restaurant. By the way, this comes from user I Want None on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So he said that he would pick me up at noon the next day so we could go eat there. I told him it wasn't necessary, but he insisted, so I agreed, thinking nothing of it. Well, today he took me out as promised, and while we were eating, Sarah FaceTimed Jay. When he didn't answer, she called again and again. He answered the fourth call and asked her what was going on. She said that she was just checking up on us and told me to call her later. Later ended up being almost 8 o'clock. Jay and I ended up spending the rest of the day together, hunting down some collectible dolls we both like, and trying different dessert spots along the way. On my way back to my apartment, Jay asked me to change the music on his phone. When I opened it, I saw that my sister had called him about 30 times throughout the day and texted him across multiple different apps. Jay put his phone on Do Not Disturb after lunch, so it made sense why he didn't see those notifications. Once he dropped me off, I called my sister and asked her if everything was all right. She said yes and asked if I had forgotten to call her back sooner. I told her that I was out with Jay, so I didn't get the chance and figured it could wait since she didn't call me. She hung up, and a few minutes later, I got a call from my mom. She sounded angry and told me that I should be ashamed of myself. I said, sure, but why today? According to my mom, Sarah called her in tears saying that she had caught Jay and I having spicy times in their apartment. I was so effing confused. I told my mom that I, in fact, did not have spicy time with Jay and that I didn't even know they lived together. I asked her to give me a minute and I called Jay, but he didn't answer. So now I'm here laying on my floor wondering what the heck is going on and putting off another conversation with my mom. All right, and we do have an update. So I'm not religious or anything, but Jesus Christ, thank you to everyone for your kind words and support. I don't know what to do with myself. Also, I meant to post an update yesterday, but my friend asked me to go watch the Miguel O'Hara movie with her, and just forgot about that. Sorry. I wanted to clear up some confusion before the update. On my original post, when my mom told me that Sarah and Jay shared an apartment, I said I didn't even know they lived together. Those were the verbatim words to her because last I knew, Sarah had a roommate and Jay lived alone.
Okay.
And I was right. That is still the case. Sorry I wasn't clear about that. I'm bad at expressing myself sometimes. Another thing was people were wondering how Jay found out about my date, or lack thereof. And according to him, he was hanging out with a few of his friends, including my sister, and she told him about it in a joking way. Another thing is that some people are asking why I went out with Jay if I knew my sister liked him. I didn't know. Just because I talked to my sister doesn't mean she talks to me the same way.
Okay.
If I had known, I would have talked to her about it first because I know from past experience, my sister is a jealous person. Anyway, last night was a doozy. Jay called me back. He said he was going to stay at a friend's because he would feel safer with company. I asked him if there had ever been anything romantic between him and my sister. He said the only thing was that he kissed her at a New Year's party at midnight because she was feeling left out. Obviously, I can't confirm if that really is the only thing. He also said that he had never even talked about moving in with Sarah, so he doesn't know why she would say they were living together. After I spoke with Jay, I called my mom again. She still sounded peeved, but this time I could hear my sister crying in the background and my dad yelling to get our butts over there. Our being Jay and I, presumably. Well, as I told my mother earlier, I didn't have Jay's butt, and I don't like to drive at night, so I told them I would go the next morning. That also gave me time to gather any evidence I could to prove my innocence. Jay even sent me a copy of his lease to prove that he and Sarah do not live together. I went to my parents alone because Jay has a job. As soon as I arrived, my parents started yelling at me. Just the usual stuff that I was disrespectful, but they never expected this from me. How dare you do this to your own sister? You know she already has a hard time. Why make her life harder? My dad even called me a or. That was fun. I just kind of sat there and did the math on how much faster I would be able to finish my grad program and flee the country, or at least the state. I wasn't very tuned in until my mom told me that if Sarah lost her job because of me, that I would need to financially support her until she found another one. That's when I snapped and told them that if they thought I was going to do that, then they were as delusional as my sister. Missing one day of work because of a tantrum over something that didn't even happen was not going to get her fired. My dad said that Sarah had been missing work to make sure Jay wasn't leaving work early to go see me. I found out my sister also told them that Jay was missing a lot of work, so he wasn't taking enough home for their bills, so they had been sending her rent money for months. I told them that that wasn't true, and I showed them the lease that Jay sent me, where it clearly says the day the lease started and when it ends. It also had his address, which is not the same as Sarah's. My mom brought Sarah out of her room where she had apparently been this entire time and told her to explain herself. Sarah said that he probably got that other apartment so that he could be closer to me when he went on supposed business trips. First of all, Jay is a software developer. I don't know what business trips he would be going on. Second, nice way to find out that my sister doesn't even know where I live because Jay's apartment is almost an hour away from me. I showed my parents that on Google Maps, and they finally started to believe me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we do have a second update, so let's get through this. Sarah started crying and calling me a liar. My dad told me that even if what I said was true, I shouldn't have been so hard on Sarah, and that as her sister, I should be helping her when she's having a rough time like this. I told him I wasn't a therapist, but if she ever decided to get help, I would pitch in. I left after that. There was nothing else I needed to say, and there was no point in waiting on an apology. My dad looked uncomfortable, and my mom was too busy consoling my sister to notice me leaving. I haven't talked to them since that. Sorry if you were expecting a fun update where I somehow got revenge on my sister or something crazy and petty. If you have questions, I'll probably answer. Thanks for caring, though, and those of you that shared your own stories under my original post, damn, sorry you went through that. But let's get into it. We got the second update.
Oh.
What's it gonna say? What's it gonna say?
Oh my gosh.
I don't really know how to start this post, but I felt obligated to write an update after everyone sent me so much love and support. There were a couple of questions I saw were pending when I logged back in, so I'll answer those first. Jay got a permanent restraining order against my sister. It took some months and a lot more harassment, but he does have that now. As for why my sister was lying to get money from our parents, I couldn't tell you. I don't know where all the money was going, but I'm pretty sure that she lied because she didn't want them to be disappointed in her. A lot has happened, but to sum up, my sister was arrested for violating the restraining order and breaking into my home. Whoa! My parents were furious with me after I didn't help bail her out. They blamed me for getting her arrested. Maybe you should have taught her to be a better burglar or something? What? Since then, I have not had any contact with my mom or my sister. My dad called to wish me Happy New Year, but that's about it. Full circle there. And you know what? You can go full circle with us every weekday at 3 p.m. live on YouTube. Just tap our profile. And we do have a little bit more here. I finished my master's, and after countless job applications and rejections, I finally found a job in my field. It is far away from where I currently live, which is a major plus. I'm sad to be leaving my friends, but I'm so excited to start this new chapter in my life. Yeah, good for you, OP. I think it's time to maybe switch up the scenery with everything going on. I think overall, I am in a much better place mentally than I was when I first came on to write my post. I intended to use Reddit as a tool for journaling, but I think that didn't really work for me, so I found different methods to express and reflect on my feelings and situations. I think I'll still use my account, but probably just for trivial things that will hopefully not get very much attention. Yeah, I think it's fair to just, stay low to the ground for a little while after very high intensity BS that you went through after all that time.
Am I the asshole for not letting anyone know I had given birth? I, 21 female, gave birth December 2023 Throughout the last few weeks of my pregnancy, my sister, 28 female, called daily to check if I was in labor. She would tell me that I had to call her as soon as I was on my way to the hospital. I would always answer, no, I won't, haha. I didn't think she was for real, seeing as we weren't really that close. A little background, my sister left the house when I was 9 and we didn't interact much until I was 18. When I was 18, she came to my graduation, fixed me up for the occasion, and a few months later offered me a job. I lived with her for a little less than a year until I got married, and every other month or so, we would have dinner. Back to the story. The last week is here, and she calls to ask how I'm feeling because she was going out of town and wanted to know if I felt like I was going to give birth soon so she could stay. I told her to go, that everything was fine. I felt like I could breathe somewhat, and she would text me every day. Even if I didn't answer, she would call or ask my mom to call my husband. Sometimes I was just sleeping and she would wake me up. I know she was only trying to show she cared, but she knows me. I'm not a particularly loving person and our personalities clash a lot. I've always been pretty distant from the family. The big day comes around and I'm going to the hospital where they said it would be a while. We didn't tell a soul, and after 16 hours, our baby boy was born. My sister called and I acted as if nothing had happened. I wanted to enjoy our baby, the experience. I wanted it to be intimate, only my husband and I. Well, the day we left the hospital, we sent them a picture in the group chat. It was my sister, my brother-in-law, my mom, and us. They thought it was a joke at first until they realized it was real. My sister said, if this is real, tell your wife she can forget she has a sister. My brother-in-law stayed silent. I mentioned I wanted it to be us for the birth. My mom said, how could you do this to us? My sister left the group chat. My brother-in-law and my mom followed. It's been 8 months and they have never met my baby. I found out they moved out of state, but I haven't heard from them since the day we left the hospital. And I think people are under the impression that we are alone. We do take care of the baby ourselves, but we are not alone. Baby has my husband's side of the family who are very much present. They called every day to check on the baby and waited until we went to visit them to meet baby. They cooked us meals on several occasions and never once were upset they weren't told day of. As a matter of fact, months later when my baby's cousin was born, her parents did the exact same thing we did. I also know it's no excuse, but my sister has always been very controlling, which is why I didn't say anything because I knew I would be forced to be okay with whatever she wanted. I didn't call to announce baby because I had just given birth and I didn't want to argue with anyone. Edit number 2. I read that someone said they pity my child or feel bad for him since I'm not a loving person. Let me clarify then. I love my baby and I love my husband. They very much know that. I'm not particularly loving with my family. It may help to know that I'm not because they pushed me aside as I was growing up. They showed me it was not safe to show love towards them. It was not wanted. I learned quickly, and after several nights crying as a child, my only safe space was my grandmother. She raised me. We spoke daily as long as she could answer. And I do not favor my husband's side. They simply made their presence in my baby's life known. I do not have any special treatment with them. They found out the same time as everyone else and simply treated it differently. The only ones not present are my sister and my mom, as my aunts, uncles, cousins, and little sister have met the baby and called to see him. Edit number 3. Thank you to everyone for the good and the bad. I can see my mistake more than anything was not making my boundaries clear. As for those saying I do not love my family, there is too much to our background for anyone to know. I do not expect anyone to understand my reasons. That being said, it does not mean I do not love my family. If I didn't, the situation wouldn't be on my mind on the daily. Anyways, thank you.
I am a gold digger. I'm in my mid-20s and engaged to a well-off man in his 40s. Everything is transactional to me, and I can't ever see myself being with somebody for the merits of their personality. My parents are angry at my choice of finance. They wanted me to be a normal and with somebody my own age and in my own tax bracket. I don't care. I have an arrangement with my fiance. He can sleep with whoever he wants as long as he gets STI tested, and in exchange, he'll take care of all my finances and we will have 2 children, after which he will pay for me to get a voluntary hysterectomy. I won't have to work. All I will have to do is cooking as a housekeeper.